Welcome, senior leadership team, to Parma Park Elementary, where my favorite thing is we get to talk about our school, we get to talk about our kids, and we get to talk about our staff. So welcome. We are going to start with honoring our students. So let's celebrate our students. All right, you ready, Mr. Keating?
I am.
All right. So first up, we have Miss Catalina. You want to come on up? What do you want to?
Go ahead and do your little speech about it.
Okay, ready? So this is what your teacher said about you, Catalina. Catalina displays all aspects of being an excellent, eager eagle. Not only is she respectful, responsible, and safe, she is kind to others and a great friend to all. Catalina is a great teacher helper, a student council member, and a scholar. She is dependable and a wonderful leader peer model. I am very proud of Catalina and know she will continue to be a wonderful asset to Parma Park. So congratulations. Miss Hannah Kish, come on up. And here is what your teacher said about you. Hannah Kish is an extraordinary student. On the first day of kindergarten, we were sitting on the carpet introducing ourselves to the class. Hannah jumped up and says in a bubbliest voice I've ever heard, "Hi, I'm Hannah." She is full of positivity for herself and others. Hannah gets truly excited for her friends, and when they do something great and get clipped up, she compliments them with enthusiasm. She is a hard worker. Hannah is one of my top students in math and reading, but continues to push herself to do the best. Hannah is a wonderful, peer helper. When we are working on our writing journal, Hannah will help her friends stretch out and sound out the words as they want to write. I feel privileged to have her in my class. So congratulations, Hannah. Again, we're going to trip over each other. Yep.
I'm going to recognize Jonathan in first grade. Jonathan, can you come on up here? Jonathan's teacher said that he embodies all things that make an excellent eagle at Parma Park. Every day he works so hard to be the best student he can. He's always ready to learn, even when things are difficult for him. He tries his best. He never gives up. He is a kind and polite to all of his fellow classmates, respectful to his peers, teachers, and all staff. Jonathan is polite and always has a smile on his face. Congratulations, Jonathan. Francine, can you come up? Francine is a conscientious and hardworking student. She is a great role model and very kind-hearted. She's always willing to help others and to make people feel included. Francine is a wonderful student to have in first grade. Congratulations.
All right, next up we have our second grade students. Jack Wensick, come on up. All right, Jack, here's what your teacher said about you. Jack has an all-around positive attitude. He works hard on anything he has to do and never complains, even when his work is a challenge. He does not hesitate to get work in and is an attentive listener. He actively participates in class. One of the best qualities about Jack is the excitement he has when he learns a new concept. It makes us all smile. He is a good friend to his peers and follows all school expectations, respectful, responsible, and safe at all times. He is everything we want our eager eagles at Parma Park to be. So congratulations. Here's what your teacher said about you. Faith is a very sweet, quiet, and polite student. She is by far the hardest working student I have ever met. When concepts prove to be a challenge for her or given a difficult task, Faith perseveres and never gives up. As a teacher, when I look out into the class, Faith always has her eyes on me and is paying attention to the lesson. Even while she is focused on her learning, she always flashes me the brightest smile. Faith is a great role model for her peers and even reminds them of how they can be respectful, responsible, and safe. Faith deserves to be recognized for her positive behavior. Thank you, Faith.
I would like to recognize Rosie Bauer from third grade. Come on up. Hi. Rosie is an all-around great student and classmate. She is constantly respectful, responsible, and safe at Parma Park. She's always doing what she's supposed to, even when others around her might be off task. We can always count on Rosie to be a role model and set an example for her classmates. Congratulations. Nice job.
First year's is going to be the last one. And I'm gonna
I should have sent you the list of words.
Charlie.
Oh, it's right there. There you go, dear. Congratulations. Take that home to your parents, okay? Great job.
Next, I would like to recognize Callie Howard. Good morning. Callie is an excellent Eagle. She works really hard and has shown great growth this whole school year. She is a self-motivated learner and a pleasure to have in class. Congratulations, Callie. Nice job.
All right, and next up we have my 4th grade students who are leaving me this year. I keep threatening to follow them to middle school. All right, Miss Aaliyah Rivera, come on up. And she is, look at how tall I am, or how short I am. All right, Aaliyah, here's what Mrs. Bender and Mrs. Reich said about you. Aaliyah is an outstanding student and overall wonderful role model for others. She is always willing to help whenever needed and is kind and caring to everyone. She has a heart of gold and willingly offers to help students who struggle with social skills and self-control. She is a strong leader in the classroom and leads with gentleness and compassion for all. We are also very proud of her. Way to go, Aaliyah. Aaliyah was also the WVIZ, oh my gosh, what was you got that award back in the fall. So she was featured on the WVIZ award winner for outstanding student, right? Yep. All right, Miss Vanessa, the other student who makes me feel shorter in stature. All right, Miss Vanessa, here's what Mrs. Bender and Mrs. Griffin said about, or Mrs. Reich said about you. Vanessa is a wonderful role model for other students in so many ways. She is always kind, respectful, and considerate of everyone under all circumstances. She is very willing to help adults and students in the classroom and throughout the school. She has shown so much academic growth this year, and her strong work ethics, determination, and she perseveres through challenging times and will take her far in school and life. We are very proud all she has accomplished. Way to go, Vanessa. And the last one is Miss Olivia Golak. Come on up. So we broke the rules and added one more. This is someone that I personally wanted to recognize. I remember when Miss O came in as a little tiny peanut kindergartner, and I would say it's safe, and we talked a little bit about this, that she struggled with learning, and learning was not the easiest for her. But when we think about grit and determination and the hardest working kid here, that would be Miss O. She has said 2 of my favorite things. So when she was in 2nd grade, right before we shut down, I walked into the classroom and I said, oh my gosh, this classroom smells so good today, because sometimes not so much. And they moved on with their work, and then all of a sudden Olivia says to me, Mrs. Jewel, I know what you smell. I'm like, what? She's like, you smell the smell of learning. And I'm like, you're right, because all the kids were engaged. And then the next year, I was in a learning walk, and I'm sitting across from the table for her. She's doing her independent work. She looks at me and says, Mrs. Jewel, when it comes to school, I'm all about the business. And that incorporates Miss O. So thank you for all your hard work. She's a great leader. All right, so the first person that we would like to recognize as an outstanding Class 5 staff member, and would you be our photographer for? Is Mrs. Amy Schaefer. Come on up. So Amy is our secretary, our principal. I'm sorry, we should have done introductions. Most importantly, this is Parker. This is the best investment that this principal has made from Amazon, because our kids love Parker. So we thought Parker should be part of the presentation. So, Miss Amy. I know, I'm going to let water squirt for a little bit. I know. But really, truly, I'm going to tell you what your peers said, but I want to start with saying that I truly appreciate and respect. She puts up with me. She has figured out how I think, how I like things, and I don't even have to ask her. Like, she just knows what to do, when to do it. And then certainly during my fall experience, she would always check up on me, drop stuff off at my house, and I really appreciate that. So couldn't do this job without you. She's one of the best principal secretaries I have ever had in my whole career. So Thank you for all you do. All right, now I'm going to make you cry because here's what your peers said about you. Amy does much of the behind-the-scenes work that keeps Parma Park running smoothly. She is often the go-to person for teachers, parents, and students who need assistance. When administration is busy, she steps in to keep our ship sailing smoothly. We appreciate her hard work and dedication to Parma Park. Your turn.
So when I stepped in October to cover while Wendy was recuperating, I knew nothing about Parma Park. I was coming in blind. I knew Amy from Shiloh. We worked together at Shiloh for a little while, so I deflected to her, and she answered all of my dumb, stupid questions. She helped me out immensely. I can go to her for something, and an hour later I have the information. So you are one of the best secretaries, office staff, people that I've ever met. So continue success in that area. So another member of our staff said Amy is the type of person that is not just dedicated to her work and school, but dedicated to each and every one of us individually. She's always willing to do whatever it is any of us need at the moment, no matter if she's busy with her own tasks or not. We can all count on Amy to get things done, no matter how big or small the need is. She's on top of it. All you have to do is simply mention something you need, and poof, the next time you turn around, it's done. If you ask me, she must have magic powers somewhere. On top of her magical powers to handle any situation, she does it with a smile and a joke. Amy is the best.
Amy is the glue of Parma Park Elementary. She holds everything together at our school, and not only daily, but when times have gotten tough. The last few years I have watched as Amy has stepped up and gone the extra mile to make sure our school and staff were ready and successful to start the year. Amy takes pride in her work and is always willing to take on extra to help us out, whether it be answering questions, ordering supplies, running around to make sure we all have coverage when we didn't have a sub. Amy always has been there for us. She is reliable and shows great attention to detail to her work. Amy is kind to everyone and always has a smile on her face. We are very lucky to have such a dedicated secretary, in all caps, and friend here at Parma Park. We appreciate everything she does.
There, that was beautiful.
Two more.
Amy is an outstanding example of what Parma Pride is. She is truly the glue that holds our building together. Amy has shown strength and consistency, not only showing support for the teachers and staff, but to students and their families. Amy is kind-hearted with a side of humor to help us all get through our days. She is there whenever she is needed. She runs a tight ship, and without her, we would be lost.
All right, last one, Mrs. Schaefer. Amy Schaefer is an amazing person. She is truly professional in her field. The beginning of the school year here at Parma Park was rocky, to say the least. Wendy was on medical leave, and our leadership was in a precarious position. Amy was literally the glue that held us together. She has to field questions and complaints from parents, teachers on a daily basis. She does this with grace, a positive attitude, and a sense of humor. She is just an all-around good human being who takes pride in her job and our school. I feel lucky to be able to work with her every day, and I am thankful she is part of the Parma Park family.
I love it.
So thank you for all you do. All right. Next up, Lisa Elan, who I think would rather be scrubbing toilets right now. We have some very
I love that middle picture of you, Lisa.
Like, why are you taking my picture?
So for that slide I was preparing. So, all right, Mrs. Elan, again, I could not do my job without you. Lisa just is truly my partner in crime here. We share very similar values in terms of how we approach kids, and she understands the needs of our kids. And most importantly is she is somebody who I really appreciate that when I'm in my, oh my gosh, I gotta get all this done and get these reports done, she will gently say to me, but this is what the child needs, Wendy. And I appreciate that because sometimes, you get so caught up. So if my reports are late, so Lisa couldn't do this without you, so I appreciate that. So here is what your peeps said to you.
Well, I get to go first this time.
You do.
Lisa works tirelessly to support the students and families of Parma Park. It is clear that when I watch her everyday interactions with students, how much she cares about them. Lisa truly goes above and beyond to help students succeed in school and in life. She's a master at relationship building and is very willing to help staff brainstorm interventions that support the emotional and behavioral growth of the child. She is a huge asset to Parma Park, and we are lucky to have her.
Lisa is one of the hardest working people I have ever met. She is consistently going above and beyond to meet the needs of not just of our school as a whole, but each and every individual in our school. I've witnessed Lisa walking students to and from school in the dead of winter just to make sure that they were in class. Not something you see every day, and a perfect example of just how much a wonderfully dedicated person Lisa is. Lisa is the kind of person you can talk to about anything. She always is there and provides a listening ear or a shoulder to lean on, not just for the students, but for us as staff as well. We are really lucky to have her.
Lisa is by far one of the most valuable resources that we have at Parma Park. Her constant compassion for our students and their families is truly admirable. She goes above and beyond for anyone in need. She supports us all here at Parma Park with absolutely anything that we ever need. She has such a positive energy and is an outstanding leader. She pulls our Parma Park family together and makes it stand out above the others.
Lisa is such a valued colleague. She wears many hats and is often seen running from one activity to another. You know, because kids don't take turn with their crises. She goes above and beyond for our families at Parma Park. I have watched her walk students to and from school, provide clothing and coats when needed, and collect food and Christmas gifts for families in need. She is always willing to help families find resources and make a positive impact on everyone she comes into contact with. My favorite thing about Lisa is her calming personality and the way she makes students feel comfortable in her presence. I watch her check in on students daily and is always there to offer a hug or a smile. Lisa spreads kindness wherever she goes.
That's true. Lisa Eland is a true advocate for our students in our building. She is always there to help students work through their emotions and help them find a healthy way to let them out so that they can continue getting the education they deserve. She adds another layer of inclusivity to our building by promoting embracing all in fun ways and educating our students and our staff. And I just have to say, when I got here, I was definitely thrown into the fire. We had a kindergarten student who is no longer with us. And my second day here, we had some fourth grade drama on the playground. I didn't know these kids, so thank God for Lisa to help me investigate, and I think we were meant to be working together, and I'm so happy that I got to meet you, and I'm proud to call you a colleague and a friend.
Thanks for all you do, Mrs. We appreciate it. All right, so now we get to our walkthrough wonders. So it was hard to pick. You know, I've been thinking about this since we were charged with this presentation. So when I really looked at how do we choose which people, you know, I really looked at our playbook and our infographics there and who every single time hits those 7 elements. So Liz Harris, I'm going to talk about something negative first, was ripped about 4 years ago. Thankfully, that same year she was called back, but I did lose her. She was placed in another building, and for 3 years I was really mad, still, you know, mad about it. We had an opportunity to bring her back last year, and thankfully she wanted to come back to Parma Park, so we were able to bring her back this year. But Liz is certainly somebody, every single time I walk in her classroom, she is following our playbook. Not only following our playbook, but also has taken the horns with authentic literacy. So she's in a 3rd grade team. 2 of our teachers departmentalized, and she is self-contained, so she teaches all the subject. But when we talk about embedding authentic literacy across content areas, Liz Harris is a master of it. My favorite one is when she was finishing a math lesson and summarizing the lesson, she used a writing prompt to end her math lesson. So certainly engaged the students in a read, write, discuss, which they did do a read, write, discuss, but then it also served as her assessment. So thank you for being one of our walkthrough leaders. All right, Nora Ann Shoes.
Refrigerator worthy.
Yes, Nora Ann Shoes. So Nora is our physical education teacher. Maybe some people don't think she's a likely candidate for a walkthrough wonder, but Charlie was here a couple years ago, walked out and said, don't you want her teaching ELA math? And the answer is yes, because good teaching is good teaching regardless of the content area. And when we look at Schmoker's 7 elements, talk about the modeling, guiding practice, assessing, and then adjusting instruction, like every single time. I feel like I am so redundant in her walkthroughs because I say the same wonderful things all the time. And then I challenge her to incorporate authentic literacy into PE, and she has done that. And, you know, not only has she done that, but it's also satisfying as a principal that she actually listens to when I talk about this in PDs. Because one of the things, as we have been talking the last 2 years in PD about authentic literacy, I always suggest when you have the kids write with them and then read your writing to them. So this is what she's doing here. She is writing with them and then she reads her writing to them. So thank you, Mrs. Anschutz, for being a walkthrough mentor. All right, Judy Custer, come on down. So Judy is our 2nd grade teacher. Judy has a really tough class this year. She's in that 2nd grade, you know, really rough group of data when they came in significantly low. She also has one of our friends that is challenging every single day. And you never heard Judy complain. I mean, she just is that constant calming force. She too has really taken authentic literacy and has embedded that throughout her lessons. But what I really want to highlight about her is our resilient learner graphic. When I think of classrooms that have a sense of community, she is the poster child for that. Her kids support each other. So when they are doing presentations, even if they are just working in pairs, you hear kids saying, wow, you did a really great job. You know what I mean? You don't always hear that. So, and that's because she fosters that. She has taken the lead on our whole school initiative of all kids and staff having safety plans. She models it with the kids, she practices it with the kids, and she uses it with the kids. It's not just something that should be hanging around the neck. So, Judy, thank you for being a walkthrough London. If you guys get a chance after this presentation, her and her teaching partner, Mrs. Ciccone, this is an example. They, on our 2nd floor, all down the hall, they did a authentic literary piece on All About Me. And Mrs. Custer did the photography. Like, it's exhibit worthy. Like, it's an awesome display upstairs if you have time. All right, Stacy Fayak, quintessential kindergarten teacher. But if you mess with her, you know, we also call her our CSI agent, Fayak, because if we need to be in the know about something, we just give her the task and she can find out any information about anybody. Amy's a close second, but Stacy's our CSI agent. She also, when I think about constantly hitting the elements of Schmoker every single time, understands that chunking of information and that design of modeling guided practice. But the one thing that I really appreciate about her is, one of my triggers is, when we do learning targets and success criteria, it shouldn't just be regurgitating this formal speak. Her kindergarten students can clearly articulate what the learning target means and the success criteria. And so it's fascinating. It amazes me to listen to these 5-years really talk about, well, yeah, this is what I'm learning, and this is why I'm learning, and this is how I'm going to know I'm going to learn. So thank you, Mrs. Fayak, for being a walkthrough mentor. Thank you. Okay, Rebecca Lloyd. So Rebecca Lloyd is our BLS. We are so lucky and blessed to have her. Rebecca is also another one who just works tirelessly and quietly. She works with our most struggling readers. I mean, she's working with 3rd and 4th grade this year.
Ms. Johnson, you have a 1st grader coming into the clinic.
She works with 3rd and 4th graders and is working with kids who come in with pre-reading skills. I mean, kids who sometimes struggle with just basic letter identification. And it's amazing to see how these kids grow. Prior to when we did have the criteria of the 3rd grade guarantee, I don't think we've ever had a kid not be able to meet that criteria after they've been working with you. So she put her own resources and time for MTA on her own time, and that was a lot of time and training, but you see the results. So thank you for being our one. Okay, staff, if those of you who can stay, but if you need to get back to your class, thank you. So appreciate all you do.
Great job, everybody. Thank you for coming out.
Wasn't that bad? Okay, so as I've been thinking about this, and we knew back in the fall that this was going to be our charge, I certainly had my ideas and thoughts about the next kind of sequence of things that you wanted us to talk about. But the reality is this isn't my school. You hire me, and I am accountable for what goes on here and to lead this building, but it is the community school. This community is made up of our students, our parents, and of our teachers. So as we go through these next slides, this is what they had to say about Parma Park. So we did start with our teachers. We did a survey of our teachers, and this is what they said. Our favorite feature about Parma Park is the sense of community of all staff, students, and parents. Staff that will think outside the box to meet the individual needs of students, both academically and social-emotionally, and a staff willingness to create individual plans for students to meet their specific needs. This kind of piggies back on Mrs. Ealing. We had a student a couple years ago, a second grade student who you tried I'm just a difficult girl, but just a great kid. But the usual stuff didn't work for her, but she watched cooking shows. So Mrs. Ealing got a crock pot, and her incentive, if she earned her points, is every Friday, right? She would get to find a recipe.
She would earn ingredients.
Yeah, she would earn ingredients, and then if she earned the ingredients on Friday, crock pot or microwave recipes that she would research, and then she would share her with the staff. So that worked for her. So that's that example of this is what this child works for this child, and this is what we'll do. So also another example of Mrs. Ealing.
That's me. Some other things that our staff said is their favorite feature is the climate of kindness and cultural acceptance, where everyone feels like they belong. A climate where students know and understand that we respect diversity and embrace all. We model the spirit of inclusivity. I think as our Embrace All coordinator, Lisa Elam has done a very good job of that with going into classrooms and doing lessons with the students, to talking with them in the cafeteria during lunch, showing videos about including all different types of religions and ethnicities and backgrounds, in a climate where students help, support, and encourage each other every day. So that's one of their favorite features as well.
Okay, so I wanted you to hear what our kids said. I promise I did not prompt, I gave them the prompt. I did not lead them to the answer.
My favorite thing about Parma is that everyone is so brave and they always follow the rules, and they're all so kind and really nice. And also they share stuff really and they're really kind when they share stuff, and then they always like to be friends and like that. And I like when it's really kind when it's like to be friends. The best thing about Parma Park is I like the whole school, and everybody's kind, and when people cry, I help them.
He's such a cute kid.
My favorite thing about Parma Park is we get to be respectful, responsible, and safe, and we're equals.
My favorite thing is that everyone's kind and everyone doesn't bully a lot. And we support each other.
My favorite thing about Parma Park is the food and the playground and the mascot.
My favorite thing about Parma Park is that we can make good friends.
My favorite thing about Parma Park is that sometimes we have assemblies and sometimes we sing events with one. And I also like how the teachers, especially the principal, is super nice. My favorite thing about Parma Park is that all my teachers are nice and they help me learn. My favorite thing about Parma Park is the staff and community. My favorite thing about Parma Park is
That's my job, girl.
the thing about Parma Park is the great teachers and the kindness that spreads among my friends. The thing about Parma Park is because I can make new friends.
My favorite thing, Park is
He knew a little heart hurt about that.
Caleb.
So that's what our kids had to say. Oopsie. There we go.
Good to be strict.
It's a winner.
It sounds like something that would come from the first grade.
Okay, so next we want to talk about what our parents said. During that Thankful campaign, we did have parents that nominated our staff for the Thankful Together. And I'll just paraphrase, I'm thankful for the staff at Parma Park, always been there for our family, and they are kind, thoughtful, helpful, and taught my boys so much. Supportive, inspiring, and work collaboratively as a team. And then this is what our parents said. This is Mrs. Buttram, who is our PTA president.
Hi, I am Mariah Buttram, the PTA president for Parma Park Elementary. My favorite thing about Parma Park is that we have a family feeling. We emphasize culture and diversity. We include all, and our students are respectful, responsible, and sweet. Our students like to take all of those concepts and take them out into the community where they continue to be respectful, responsible, and safe. That is my favorite thing about Parma Park.
Is that a real dog?
Oh, no.
God, it looks real.
Well, you were here when we were talking about that, remember?
Right, yeah, we're working on
Now
it.
that actually is a puppet that Mrs. Elan brought into my office for one of our students, and it just has kind of stayed there.
It's very authentic.
But actually, it is a well-used dog. I mean, a lot of our kids just need to come in and hug it or they talk to it. So it really works as one of our, it has gone flying across the office, but yeah, that's kind of been staying there all year so far. All right, so that leads us to our next slide of our least favorite feature.
So yeah, when we talked to our staff, these are some of the things that they shared with their least favorite features of our school. Obviously, sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold. The airflow with the windows. I mean, I'm sure you've heard these things from some of the other buildings. I mean, look at the lovely carpeting that we have in this area right here. So. I know that our district is working on a consolidation plan, hopefully to get some new buildings in the next few years. So this probably, hopefully, will not be a least favorite feature for that much longer.
So this is what our staff said. The other thing they said is it's really hard for them because they do feel like they're a sense of family. Is I think one of the things, because we are a small school and we've seen a lot more transiency. We do have every year opening and closing of sections, and so losing staff is hard for everyone, and their teams change every year. And then the other thing they said that their least favorite feature is that the data doesn't always reflect that their hard work and the students' hard work, so that's frustrating for them. All right, now to the most significant improvement. As a principal, it's great to know as you look at the feedback, when we look at the feedback, it lines exactly up with both of our infographics and our playbook. So that's always makes principals' heart happy with that. But what they felt, and I agree, is an increase in student writing. We have really been hitting that hard in the last couple years, specifically with that authentic literacy piece, read, write, discuss. So we are having students write every day and build their writing stamina and skills. I mean, kids used to whine and complain about reading or starting their writing, but now it's just part of their routine. So that's always wonderful to see. The other thing they thought was the most significant improvement is the tweaking that we've done with Pi. So we have added math content to Pi. Now that was a bit of a shift and a little bit of prodding and coaching them to get that based on what the data said. But now that we do have both ELA and Math Pi running, they're seeing the difference. And that we are working on skill-based interventions during our Pi time. Mr. Keating?
Yes, another improvement that our staff shared that I think Wendy has been leading the last few years is implementing restorative practices into our daily routines with our students. Most, if not all, of our teachers have a morning meeting or an afternoon meeting time built into their day that they use to, get to know the students and have the students share what's going on in their lives if they need to talk or decompress. That classroom community, and this year we've been focusing on the book Hacking School Discipline. We've been reading it as a staff and discussing it at all of our PD sessions, using those activities and strategies that the authors suggest right into the classroom the next day. Circling up is what Ms. Jewell likes to call it, and we have a lot of our staff taking up on that. 9 of our staff members actually are trained to be circle facilitators. They do that at lunch and recess time if we have an issue that needs to be circled up. So I was very happy to see that when I got here, that we had so many staff volunteer to do that.
And then we have a buy-in for that too. I think that's we've had great conversations as we've been just discovering and just exploring this book.
Oh, still me.
Still you?
We have also worked hard. I know they were doing a lot of Tier 2 PBIS interventions, but we worked hard as a PBIS Resilient Learner team this year to formalize that process for our students. We created a Tier 2 team this year. We've identified students in need of those supports. We have referral forms for staff and families and matching forms for the intervention that would match best for that student. We've implemented our Eagle Pride mentoring program, our check-in, check-out mentoring program, social skills groups, and restorative circles. We have 19 students, or about almost 7%, currently receiving formalized Tier 2 supports. But all of our second graders, both classrooms, have all been part of either Girl Power that Lisa Elin ran, or Guys with Ties, which I started this year. So
And the kids love that.
they do.
And they won't let me in. I got kicked out of the classroom.
She's a girl.
She's just gonna tell you.
She
Well,
tried that.
I did the next day. I wore. Yeah, I did.
So I've been proud to see the growth in just the short time that I've been here with the staff. But I think what it makes it even better is that we do have that staff buy-in, and so many people volunteering to be check-in, check-out. Amy Schaefer, who was up here earlier, she's a check-in, check-out mentor for one of our second graders, and she absolutely loves meeting with him every day in the morning and in the afternoon. So it's not just certified staff, it's our classified staff that's really helping us out.
All right. The other thing that our staff identified is the safety plan. So again, all of our staff and students wear safety plans. These are created in the beginning of the year. And really it is self-regulation skills. And we know the key to that is not just wait till they're in a crisis, because when adults and students are flooded with emotions, we don't do our best thinking. So it's that idea of teaching those self-regulations, modeling it and practicing it, so that when they are escalated and flooded with emotions, they have the tools that they need. So we're pretty proud of that one. All right, significant challenge we still face. I know that you've heard this, the education groups. The education fallout from COVID, the gaps in the skills and the mental health concerns, really trying to meet the needs of students with mental health and the trauma issues, and those supports and resources that go along with it. We know, we constantly should assess our PBIS program, but we know PBIS is not going to help with those mental health issues. So I think where we're trying to go as the next team and with our PBS head is really looking at that neuro-sequential model and some of those strategies to get with that, because those are things that we can do in the building. And then just really trying to figure out with the limited RTI supports and the needs of the kids is how do we wrap those services around kids so that we can meet those needs. The data points that we are most proud is that we are growing kids. So when we looked at our winter benchmark, we are moving kids out of red. Our K1, 3 grades have the biggest growth. Second grade, like every grade level in the state of Ohio, was our toughest group. Most of the kids were red in the fall. And while we still have a lot of kids on the red, they were on the low end of the red, and now they're either on the high end of the red or into the yellow and some of the green with that. And then our other point is our walkthrough data shows that, we are seeing daily authentic literacy practices and the stamina is increasing.
I touched on this a little bit earlier. Our data point that we're also proud of is our increased PBIS supports. All homerooms are using that morning or afternoon meeting time to identify students' social and emotional needs. All students have been taught their PBIS expectations lessons at least twice and have attended expectations assemblies throughout the year. We have great Tier 1 supports in place, our excellent Eagle tickets, our weekly and monthly PBIS drawings. We have positive principal phone calls. We did a third quarter PBIS incentive last quarter in March, right before St. Patrick's Day, and 94% of our students were able to participate based on criteria that the team had come up with. Weekly second step and staff and student safety plans. So, and then our Tier 2 supports are starting and they're coming along, and we're very proud of where we are headed in that direction.
We're going for silver. We'll see. All right, so what we're going to work hardest on is continuing to close the instructional gaps and then continuing with our authentic literacy skills and practices.
We are continuing to foster that inclusive, positive growth mindset and creating an emotionally safe environment for our kids where they feel emotionally and physically safe to learn, and continue those morning meetings and circles to repair the harm and recognize and celebrate the diversity in all of our students.
Okay. Do you guys have time? I know we're a little behind.
I think most of us are fine.
Okay, well then I'm going to show you.
Probably.
So then this is what our kids and our PTA president said we should work the hardest on.
I would like us to work harder on the language and the neatness. I would like us to work harder on how we act At Parma Park, I think we should be more respectful, responsible, and safe. I think at Parma Park we should include everyone in our games, even if they're not our friend, and we should continue to be kind to one another.
What we are working on the hardest here at Parma Park is our feeling of being inclusive and making sure families feel welcome no matter where they're from. We also are promoting culture and diversity, which is one of the programs that we work on very hard is our kindness program, where kids are encouraged to be kind, they learn the value of kindness, and they are encouraged to continue to be kind in and outside of school.
All right, so we took the liberty of adding this question, and we asked our staff, what do we want senior leadership to know about Parma Park? And so what they wanted you to know is that they are willing to work as a team for the benefit of students, that they are individuals but work as a whole team. We do our best to meet the emotional and academic needs of our students, and we are dedicated and hardworking, and our school community prioritizes kids. This is a direct quote. Chris was like, you're gonna put that in there? I'm like, So they said, we are not just a staff, but we are a family, dysfunction and all, but we pull together to make a difference and meet the needs of our students and fellow staff members. All right, so then our students wanted you to know. And then the last thing that our staff wanted you to know, and again, not prompted by Chris or I.
They just wanted you to know that you are appreciated. Thank you for everything that you do for our school community every single day, and just keep working hard to make sure the kids their needs are being met.
Oh, that was nice.
I thought that was nice that they
Very
did
nice.
that.
Very nice.
Okay, so in closing, I want to just do a very quick, I don't know if you peeped at I couldn't put this slide in until the end.
What? Get that out of there.
So just, obviously as I was out at the beginning of the year, our staff, when I came back, had Team Wendy t-shirts, and they wear them pretty much every Thursday. I won't tell you how long it took me to realize that they all had the same shirt on that Thursday, but they did. So I really just wanted to let you guys know what a great staff that they were to check on me, and then make sure when I first came back that I was taking care of myself. Now it's game on, but that's okay. But then I also want to give a very special thanks to Mr. Keating. It was hard for me not to be here in the beginning of the year. I know, we were faltering in the beginning of the year, and then when I found out Chris was coming over, while I still worried about the school, I could just kind of breathe and take care of what I needed to take care of and focus on. So Mr. Keating, thank you so much. He earned the respect of staff and students quick and in a hurry. He's visible, he gets in there with staff, and as you guys know, that if you're not willing to do the work that they're willing to do, you don't go very far. So Mr. Keating, thank you very much.
It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with.
And one of the hardest working men that I know, so I appreciate that. All right, and then we'd like to close with this quote. Way back when I did my first student teaching experience in secondary social studies, my mentor teacher, Mr. Lang, gave me this Chaim Ganat quote, and he said that every August he pulls this quote out and reads it before he starts school. And so as a young teacher, every August I would pull it out, and then sometimes in February, those long days of February. And then when I became an administrator, specifically as a principal, this is how I start all of my opening meetings. And we also put it in the opening bulletin. But this kind of summarizes what we try to do here at Parma Park. I've come to the frightening conclusion I am the decisive element that creates the climate. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be the tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated. and a child humanized or dehumanized. So we try really hard to be a tool of healing and make sure that this is an emotionally safe place for kids. So thank you for your time.